All right, good morning, everyone. So, today we're going to tackle a concept that is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful tools you'll have in your business toolkit: price elasticity of demand. Now, I want to be clear, mastering this isn't just about passing an exam. It's a critical skill that will truly set you apart as a strategic thinker, whether you go on to be a manager, a marketer, or an entrepreneur.
Okay, let's put ourselves in a real-world situation. Imagine this. You've poured months, maybe even years, into developing a fantastic new product. It's innovative, it's brilliant, and now it's ready to launch. You're facing a massive decision, one that could make or break its success. What's the right price, right? You price it too high, you might scare everyone away. Price it too low, and you're leaving money on the table, undervaluing all that hard work. This is the classic pricing dilemma, and at its heart, it's a math problem.
So, how do you solve it? Well, the answer isn't about what you think the product is worth. The real key is understanding how your customers are going to respond to whatever price you set. We need to figure out a way to quantify this responsiveness. Just how sensitive are people to changes in your price? If you bump it up by a few dollars, will you see a mass exodus? Or will most people not even blink?
And that right there is where this idea of price elasticity of demand comes into play. So what is it, formally? It's a precise, measurable way to gauge how responsive your customers are to price changes. It's absolutely crucial to get this. This isn't just some abstract theory from an economics textbook. This is a powerful, predictive tool that lets us actually model how consumers behave. It allows us to build pricing strategies based on data, not just on gut feelings.
Okay, now for the math. And look, I know when you see a formula like this, especially with those D's representing derivatives from calculus, it can look a little intimidating. But I want you to view this not as something to just memorize, but as a logical machine with two very distinct parts. We're going to take this machine apart, piece by piece, so you understand exactly how it works.
Let's start with that first component, dq divided by dp. Now, for those of you who've taken calculus, you'll recognize this as a derivative. It's the instantaneous rate of change. But let's talk about what it really means in a business setting. Think of this as your raw sensitivity meter. It answers a very specific question. For every single $1 change in our price, how many more or how many fewer units do we sell? That's it. It's the raw responsiveness. But that first part, that raw number, is kind of useless on its own. And that's where the second half of the formula, P divided by Q, comes in to save the day. It provides context. Think about it. Losing 50 customers is a total disaster if you only have 100 to begin with. But if you have 10 million customers, it's a rounding error. By multiplying by this P over Q ratio, we scale that raw change. We turn it into a standardized, unitless percentage. And that's what allows us to make meaningful comparisons across totally different products. You could compare the elasticity of a $2 coffee to a $50,000 car. All right, theory is great, but where the rubber really meets the road is applying this stuff to a real-world problem. So let's do that. We're going to transition from the abstract and walk through a practical case study. Let's pretend we're the management team for a new software-as-a-service company, and it's our job to figure out our pricing. Okay, so here's our situation. Let's look at our dashboard. Our current price, P, is $20 a month. At that price, our quantity, Q, is 10,000 subscribers. Now for the really important part. DQ/DP. We've estimated this to be -50. Now, you should be asking, where did that number come from? Well, in the real world, you don't just guess. You get this number from doing your homework, running A/B tests on your website, using advanced market research, or analyzing historical sales data. So what this -50 tells us is that our models predict we will lose 50 subscribers for every $1 we increase the monthly price. Now that we have our numbers, the calculation itself is actually pretty simple. We're just going to plug everything into the formula we just broke down. Our responsiveness component, dq over dp, is -50. Our context component, p over q, is $20 divided by 10,000 subscribers, which gives us 0.002. Now we just multiply those two pieces together. And when you do that math, you get -1.0. Now, this number, -1, is a really big deal. In economics, we have a special name for this, unit elasticity. For our software company, this means that any percentage change in our price is going to be met with an exactly equal and opposite percentage change in demand. So, for instance, if we raise our price by 5%, we can expect to lose exactly 5% of our subscribers. We've found a perfect balance point where our total revenue is currently maxed out. And this brings me to maybe the most important point of the entire lecture. It is so important to remember this. The calculation is just an input. Any software can crunch numbers. The real work, the work of a strategist, of a leader, begins with interpreting that number and turning it into a smart business decision. So that's the pivotal question, right? We've done the math. We know our elasticity is negative 1.0. We understand what unit elastic means. But what do we do now? Should we raise the price, lower it, or just keep it the same? The number itself doesn't just hand us the answer. Okay, this right here is the decoder ring for your results. Generally, we talk about the absolute value, so just ignore the negative sign for a moment. If your result is a number bigger than 1, we say demand is elastic. That means your customers are very sensitive to price. And in that case, here's the kicker. Lowering your price will actually make you more total revenue. On the flip side, if the number is less than 1, demand is inelastic. Your customers aren't that sensitive. And here, you can actually increase your price and your total revenue will go up. So let's bring it back to our software company. We landed right on the money at negative 1.0, unit elastic. This puts us in a really interesting and kind of tricky spot. We're at our revenue peak. It's like we're perfectly balanced on a seesaw. Any price change we make, up or down, is going to be perfectly offset by a change in subscribers, meaning our total revenue stays exactly the same. So the decision now isn't about revenue, it's about strategy. Do we want to grow our market share? Maybe we lower the price to get more users. Or is our goal to maximize profit from each user? Then maybe we raise the price, even if it means our user base shrinks a bit. All right, before we wrap up, I want to give you a professor's note here. These are the common mistakes I see students and, frankly, professionals make all the time when they try to use this model out in the wild. Knowing what these are is key to actually using this tool correctly. First, and this is a big one, don't ever think this elasticity number is set in stone. It's a snapshot in time. The market is a movie. It's always changing. Competitors change, the economy changes, tastes change. Second, don't do this analysis in a bubble. What your competitors are doing has a huge impact on your customers' price sensitivity. Third, a really important technical point. Elasticity is not the same thing as the slope of the demand curve. Remember, the slope is only one part of the formula. Even on a straight line demand curve, the elasticity is different at every single point. And finally, and this should be obvious, garbage in, garbage out. If your estimate for DQ/P is based on bad data, your whole analysis is worthless and could lead you to make some really bad decisions. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? I hope what you internalize is that price elasticity of demand is so much more than a formula you have to memorize for an exam. It is a strategic lens. It's a new way of looking at your market that allows you to systematically understand how your customers think about value and how they'll react to your decisions. The goal isn't just to find a number, it's to develop a deep, quantitative understanding of your market. And I'll leave you with this final question to think about. Elasticity is a fantastic tool. It tells you how your customers react to price changes. But the next level of strategic thinking, where the real genius lies, is asking the next question, why? Why is their demand elastic or inelastic? Is it because your product is a necessity? Are there a ton of other options out there? How strong is your brand? Answering that why is where the art of business meets the science of math. And that's the question you'll be answering for the rest of your careers.